Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour. Fired.
Also, tune in to the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Wake up, Jamaica.
It's another glorious day on Nationwide this morning. From your 6 a.m. alarm to the news at 6. Coming up in the news at 6 to me telling you what's on my mind.
To more news at 7 a.m. Coming up in the news at 7. And then the biggest issues dissected, interrogated, and discussed on the front page. Nationwide this morning fires you up and sets you right for the remainder of the day.
And there's much more until 9 a.m. Want to know which roads to avoid on your morning commute?
Time now for Street Smarts 2 with Little McLean.
Listen to Street Smart.
Want to hear more about things happening at the community level outside the bustling corporate area? Listen to Across Jamaica.
Get Dad ready for every job with all the tools he needs this Father's Day. The time by Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Label Crafts Jamaica Limited offers exceptional finishes that will make your product extraordinary at an affordable cost. The Temperature by Label Crafts Jamaica Limited, the #1 choice for label printing, is
It's 33 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 32 in Montego Bay.
News at 5 teasers are brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Roby Ann Williams.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
In Nationwide News at this hour, Dr. Dayton Campbell agrees to publicly apologize to Minister Darrell Vaz and to pay $1.5 million in costs settling a defamation claim.
The voluntary out-of-court settlement was signed today.
Referrals for prosecutions by the Integrity Commissions have increased more than 20 times for 2025-2026.
Police Commissioner says misconduct, non-compliance and indiscipline remain persistent challenges within the JCF.
JET wants stricter policies governing the use and proper disposal of single-use plastic.
It is a combination of behavioral practices and also solid waste management infrastructure as well as enforcement of laws.
In news from the rest of the world, Haiti sends medical mission to Venezuela after deadly earthquakes.
Judge orders Trump to pay $5 million to E. Jean Carroll in sex abuse case.
In sports, France and Morocco to kick off quarterfinals, where World Cup resumes after one-day break.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, the Jamaica Stock Exchange has officially launched its micro market designed to provide micro and small enterprises with access to equity financing. President of the MSME Alliance, Antoinette Hamilton, and Second Vice President of the Small Business Association of Jamaica, Denise Williams, will join us.
In the nation's business at 6:25, Project STAR is set to continue beyond its original 5-year timeline. Project STAR's donor, Management and External Affairs Advisor Kalando Wilmoth and co-chair Keith Duncan will join us to discuss the program's expansion.
At 7, it's the comments section. This evening, they're asking, what's your reaction to the JCF's 111% murder clear-up rate? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram program at Nationwide 90 FM.
And at 8, it's Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings Weathers.
All these and more as we take you home on air Nationwide 90 FM this Wednesday afternoon. It's Wednesday, July 8, 2026.
News at 5 teasers were brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. People's National Party General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell has agreed to publicly apologize to Cabinet Minister Darrell Vaz and to pay $1.5 million in costs settling a defamation claim Vaz brought against him nearly 3 years ago. The voluntary out-of-court settlement was signed on Wednesday. It closes the matter that began in 2023 after Dr. Campbell made comments about Minister Vaz on a political platform in northwest Clarendon. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
Under the terms of the agreement, Dr. Dayton Campbell is to unequivocally withdraw the statements and issue a written apology in his capacity as PNP General Secretary. Dr. Campbell was slapped with a defamation lawsuit in connection with comments made against Minister Vaz on a political platform in July of 2023. Vaz's attorney claimed that her client was defamed through words which, in their natural and ordinary meaning, and in the context of the defendant's speech, were meant to convey or imply that the claimant had engaged in criminal conduct. In his apology, the PNP General Secretary accepts that his remarks could have been interpreted as linking Minister Vaz to a murder and to an alleged 2015 plot to assassinate then opposition leader Andrew Holness. Dr. Campbell states that the claims have no foundation in truth and are categorically false. He notes that Minister Vaz produced a passport and college records showing he was out of the jurisdiction at the time of the murder, and that a man has since been convicted of public mischief over a hoax tied to the assassination claim. The agreement requires Dr. Campbell to record a video apology for his social media platforms by noon on Thursday and to have the apology published in the Gleaner and Observer newspapers this coming Sunday. The apology must be placed prominently within the first 5 pages of both. He has also agreed to pay the $1.5 million in costs within 6 months. Vaz, who serves as Minister of Energy, Telecommunications and Transport, was represented by attorney Catherine Minto. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
The Integrity Commission's referrals for prosecutions have increased more than 20 times for the 2025-2026 reporting period compared to the 2024-2025 period a year ago. That's according to the Integrity Commission's annual report tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. According to the report for 2025-2026, there were 62 matters referred for prosecution. This is up from 3 the year before. 2 years ago, there were 18 prosecution referrals for the period. However, there was a similar spike of 68 referrals 4 years ago in the 2022-2023 reporting period. During the last financial year, of the 62 referrals, the Commission's Director of Corruption Prosecution chose to initiate 31 matters. Of that number, 21 resulted in convictions. All 21 matters are related to failure to submit statutory declarations by a public official as required by the Integrity Commission Act.
Misconduct, non-compliance, and indiscipline remain persistent challenges within the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF. Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake made the disclosure in the latest edition of his force orders on Wednesday. Shalois Michael reports.
According to Dr. Blake, the JCF continues to make significant progress in strengthening its systems and improving professional standards. However, the Commissioner knows that these gains are being undermined by challenges of misconduct, non-compliance, and indiscipline within the organization. But Dr. Blake explains that addressing these shortcomings is an essential part of building a modern, accountable police service. Writing in his Commissioner's Corner, Dr. Blake states that continuous improvement depends on organizations being willing to confront their weaknesses rather than ignore them. According to Dr. Blake, maintaining high professional standards requires more than setting organizational goals. He says it also requires effective systems capable of identifying shortcomings, enforcing accountability, and driving continuous improvement. Dr. Blake says no organization of the JCF's size and complexity could expect to eliminate every internal challenge. But he notes that excellence is achieved by responding quickly and effectively when problems arise. Dr. Blake says findings of non-conformity during external audits should not be viewed as deficiencies, but as opportunities to improve performance. He has also warned against complacency, saying recent achievements should not lead JCF members to believe their work is complete. The commissioner says sustained progress depends on maintaining discipline, strengthening accountability, and continually refining the systems which support the JCF. Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
President of the Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises MSME Alliance, Antoinette Hamilton, is welcoming the news of the Jamaica Stock Exchange JSE's micro market. Speaking with Nationwide News, Hamilton says the new market positions micro and small businesses in particular in a good spot to access financing.
The JSE micro market is a big step in the right direction for small businesses. It provides an alternative or an additional source of financing for MSMEs, especially those in the micro and small. I know micro may say that they still won't be able to access that because, as a micro, you're earning 50 million or less. You may think that is out of your reach, but that's not the thinking that we want our micro entities to have. We want them to have the thinking that I can access $50 million or more to bring my revenue from 15 million to 100 million.
The new micro market will allow the country's smallest businesses to raise between $50 and $100 million in equity capital, opening a formal market channel to firms long locked out of it. The platform was announced by Finance Minister Fayval Williams in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. She says a stock market sandbox will let prospective companies rehearse the demands of being publicly listed, reporting obligations, corporate governance standards, and regulatory expectations before entering the live market. Hamilton says the alliance will work alongside Minister Williams and the Development Bank of Jamaica to ensure MSMEs take advantage of the opportunity the micromarket provides.
What we need right now is just for persons to be educated about it and also for persons to take up the opportunity. And I must commend the minister for not only announcing it, but also ensuring that it was executed, and also credit to the Jamaica Stock Exchange for their timely execution of this new micro market. As I said before, it is more of us now getting persons to participate on the market. And that will involve working together with the minister, BBJ, the Jamaica Stock Exchange, to provide that capacity building that is required.
Antoinette Hamilton, President of the MSME Alliance.
The government is being urged to implement stricter policies governing the use of single-use plastic. CEO of the Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody, made the call at the virtual launch of JET's International Coastal Cleanup Day on Wednesday. She's also calling for more infrastructure to properly dispose of plastic waste.
We want to see a reduction in unnecessary single-use plastics, and we're calling for government to kind of create that enabling environment to see our local manufacturers and embrace that kind of approach. And we need to see a strengthening of the deposit refund scheme and other measures that encourage reuse and recovery. And we need to continue educating the public about the choices we make every day. And we see a lot of people are nasty. People need to containerize their garbage. Yes, we do have behavioral issues, but we also see where there are lack of resources for collecting garbage. And so it is a combination of behavioral practices and also solid waste management infrastructure, as well as enforcement of laws.
The first phase of Jamaica's national single-use plastic ban was officially launched on January 1, 2019. It targeted the importation, manufacture, distribution, and use of specific single-use plastic carrier bags, plastic straws, and imported expanded styrofoam. These items strongly contribute to marine litter and waste. The most recent phased ban took effect on January 9, 2025. It prohibits the distribution and use of single-use plastic food containers. But according to Dr. Moody, plastic remains a major issue for marine life despite the ban.
The data shows that while the ban is working on certain items, we're not seeing plastic straws in the top 10 items. We see that there is a decline in foam. We're still seeing that, plastic is still the persistent issue, and it's mainly plastic bottles. And this despite there being a voluntary deposit refund scheme. Our cleanup efforts, International Coastal Cleanup Day, has helped prevent potential harm to approximately 37,400 marine organisms. But we know that the cleanups is really, it's not the solution to the solid waste management issue that we have. It is a part of the solution. And the problem isn't just about littering. It's how these products are designed, produced, used, and discarded.
Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody, CEO of the Jamaica Environment Trust. You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with a purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is
5:14.
Termites, rodents, or birds infesting your home or office? Call Rentokil Initial, the pest expert, at 876-926-4236 for a free pest assessment island-wide. The temperature brought to you by Rentokil Initial is...
It's 33 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 32 in Montego Bay.
A voice you love returns home. This August, afternoons on Nationwide on air and online will never be the same.
Continuing the news, Jamaicans should brace for extreme windy conditions for the remainder of the week. That's the word from the Met Service of Jamaica. In an advisory on Wednesday, the Met Service says a low-level jet stream across the Caribbean Sea has been producing windy conditions across the island and its territorial waters since the start of the week. The system is expected to move closer later this week, bringing very strong and possibly gale-force winds to Jamaica on Friday and Saturday. The most severe impacts are expected across southern parishes and southern marine areas, including Pedro and Morant Banks. Fishers and other marine interests, especially those operating on the south coast, are being urged to exercise extreme caution. This as sea conditions are expected to deteriorate due to strong winds.
The heads of 4 of the world's leading economic and energy bodies say the global economy has so far weathered the shock of the war in the Middle East. However, they are warning that the danger is far from over. And for an oil-importing country like Jamaica, the stakes are high. Mahiri Stewart tells us more.
The International Energy Agency, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank Group, and the World Trade Organization met in Washington on Monday as part of a coordination group set up in April to manage the energy, trade, and economic fallout from the conflict. In a joint statement, the 4 say the global economy has been broadly resilient, but that the impact has been deeply uneven, hitting energy supplies, food security, and economic activity across many countries. They are urging further progress towards ending the war and reopening the Strait of Hormuz. The strait is a narrow shipping lane through which about 1/5 of the world's oil normally passes and which has been all but shut since fighting began in February. On the upside, the agencies note that fuel and fertilizer prices have fallen since their last meeting in June. But they caution that uncertainty remains high and that the effects of the war could linger. For Jamaica, the warning lands close to home. Because the country imports nearly all of its fuel, it is directly exposed to every swing in the global oil market. Since the war began, pump prices have climbed sharply, with Petrojam's ex-refinery price for 87-octane gasoline rising from about $151 a litre in late February to about $190 by mid-June. The government has been cushioning the blow through a price cap, limiting weekly movements to $4.50 a litre. That cap was recently raised to $12.50 for diesel products. The Bank of Jamaica has also flagged the risk warning that a prolonged conflict could push inflation above its 4 to 6% target range. The central bank has kept its policy interest rate on hold as a precaution. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
The Haitian government has deployed a medical mission to Venezuela to assist communities affected by the powerful earthquakes that struck the country on June 24. The mission, launched at the request of Haitian Prime Minister Alix Didier Fils-Aimé, arrived in Venezuela on Tuesday. It's led by the Minister of Public Health and Population. It includes 31 healthcare professionals, among them specialists in orthopedics, surgery, gynecology, and internal medicine. The delegation also delivered 5.5 tons of essential medical supplies and equipment, including ultrasound machines, oxygen concentrators, and specialized equipment for pediatric care.
A judge has ordered that U.S. President Donald Trump pay writer E. Jean Carroll more than $5 million after he was found liable for sexually abusing and defaming her in a civil case 3 years ago. Judge Lewis Kaplan on Wednesday ordered a clerk to release the money, with interest from an account where Trump deposited it after the ruling. Trump was pushing to delay the payment to ask the Supreme Court to reconsider its decision not to hear an appeal of the case. He then put the damages into a court-controlled account shortly after the verdict. The judge did not say when the funds would be released to Carroll. Carroll accused Trump of sexually assaulting her in the 1990s and then branding the incident as a hoax on social media.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, Dr. Dayton Campbell agrees to publicly apologize to Minister Darrell Vaz and to pay $1.5 million in costs settling a defamation claim.
Referrals for prosecutions by the Integrity Commissions have increased by more than 20 times for 2025-2026.
Police Commissioner says misconduct, non-compliance and indiscipline remain persistent challenges within the JCF.
JET wants stricter policies governing the use and proper disposal of single-use plastic.
I'm Robeanne Williams.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com, and please feel free to join the Nationwide Family Club at patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. News next, the headlines at 6.
Hey, turn up to 25. Turn up to 25. Could I drive out fresh in a MG ride with a staycation all inclusive flex? Yeah. I touch a million cash. Yes. Smart TV, PS5, and home upgrade.
Turn up your winning this summer with Digicel. Sign up or switch to postpaid or Digicel Plus. Buy a SIM. Top up with 5 bills or more. Buy a 7-day plan or higher. A smartphone deal or just pay your bill. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion period June 24 to September 5, 2026. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for terms and conditions.
A voice, a personality you love returns to Nationwide this August. Afternoons on air and online at Nationwide will never be the same.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. We start with news on football action at the 2026 FIFA World Cup final resumes on Thursday after a one-day break with the first quarterfinal game at the Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Title favorites and two-time champions France, they'll take on the champions of Africa, Morocco, at 3 o'clock in what will be a repeat of their semi-final showdown at the last World Cup finals in Qatar 4 years ago. The French on that occasion proved too strong for the Atlas Lions, winning that game by 2-0. Both teams arrived at the quarterfinal stage in contrasting fashion, with Morocco impressively dismissing Canada by 3-0. The French had to battle a very stomach Paraguay by beating them 1-0. A fascinating game is in prospect between the two teams, who have displayed some of the best football at the tournament so far. France will have concern over Bradley Barcola, Manu Kone, and Michael Lelise. Each picked up a yellow card in their last game and will miss a potential semi-final if they are booked against Morocco. Nationwide 90 FM's World Cup analyst Owen Hill looks ahead to the encounter.
It should be an interesting tactical battle. Obviously, France is the favorite going into the game, but not necessarily heavy favorites, because the Morocco team has shown that they have quality all over the park and they have the willingness to go all the way.
That's Owen Hill. And Nationwide's coverage of the game starts at 2:30 p.m. with a pre-game show featuring Hill and Calvert Fitzgerald. Former West Indies and Jamaica fast bowler Courtney Walsh says that he would have a hard time playing cricket in this era, especially with various teams giving players rest to manage burnout and workload. The ICC Hall of Fame inductee, known for bowling lengthy spells, added that as a player who depended heavily on rhythm, the current approach would have disrupted his pattern and flow.
I could not survive now with this workload and resting and rotation or whatever. I need to bowl to get fit, and once I'm match fit, is maintenance. If you're going to rest me and bring me back, I'm going to start all over again. That's just what I do. I've got to get fit. You get into a rhythm, you get into the momentum of playing, and you maintain that rhythm as you go along. You know your body, you know your fitness, and you keep working on that. If you're going to stop to start again, when you get into first gear and second gear, and you stop, start, it's like redoing over the engine. But once you get into that momentum, it's maintenance.
Walsh, he picked up 519 wickets from 132 test matches and has bowled over 30,000 deliveries in test cricket without ever bowling a no ball. Walsh, who is a current bowling coach for the Zimbabwe senior team, says he also has time to share his experience with the upcoming fast bowlers.
I tell the modern day players this, even the ones I coach. I say, I can't tell you how to go about, but I used to bowl in the nets to get fit. I do a bit of jogging. I never did a lot of gym, but light weights in the gym when my shoulder got damaged. But it's more maintenance. Once you're match fit, then you maintain that. So if it means practice less or bowl less in the nets, I'm all for that because I want to play the matches. Tell me I'm going to miss a test match because of workload. I'm not having it.
Courtney Andrew Walsh. West Indies have been fined 10% of their match fee and penalized 2 World Test Championship points for maintaining a slow over rate in the second test against Sri Lanka, which was completed on Monday in Antigua. Match referee Javagal Srinath imposed this sanction after the host team was found to be 2 overs short of the target after time allowances were taken into consideration. As per the ICC Code of Conduct for players and player support personnel, players are fined 5% of their match fee for each over their team failed to bowl within the allotted time, with the maximum penalty cap at 50% of the match fee. Additionally, a side is penalized 1 point in the World Test Championship points table for each over short, as per the ICC WTC playing conditions. Captain Ruston Chase pled guilty to the offense and accepted the proposed sanction, so there was no need for a formal hearing. Some netball news now. President of Netball Jamaica, Karen Ball, has hailed the Kendall's commitment to the development of the sport after the corporate entity signed a $20 million sponsorship agreement to support the association's programs over the next 2 years. The announcement comes at a pivotal time for Jamaica's top-ranked team sport, with the Sunshine Girls gearing up for a demanding international schedule that includes the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland, and the 2027 Netball World Championships in Sydney, Australia. Ball praised Kendall for investing in the future of Jamaican netball, describing the partnership as a timely boost for the national program.
It will go towards general program support. It will support not only the senior Sunshine Girls, but also any of our age group teams like our development squad or under 16 once we're able to bring them back on stream. Typically, food is one of our biggest costs. So in addition to actually providing actual food, it will go towards helping with the food bill as well as transportation. Sometimes we have to subsidize and support the girls with to get them to on some training, medical support because players do get injured sometimes, and we do have insurance should go on and see if any cost that is not covered, we have to cover.
That's President of Netball Jamaica, Karen Bohr. And we close with news on tennis from the Wimbledon Tennis Championships in England. Britain's Arthur Ferry continues his remarkable run at the Wimbledon Tennis Open on Wednesday with a stunning straight sets win over Frenchman Flavio Cobolli to become the first men's wildcard in 25 years to reach the semifinals at the tournament. The 23-year-old took 1-6-4, 7-6 love victory over the world's number 10 and the French runner-up to set up a clash with the French Open champion, that's Alexander Zverev, in the last four on Friday. Also through to the last four is 24-time Grand Slam winner Novak Djokovic, who battled over 5 sets before beating Felix Auger-Aliassime in a 5-set thriller in the longest ever Wimbledon quarterfinal. The over 5-hour-long encounter ended with Djokovic winning 7-6, 3-6, 6-3, 7-6, 7-6, and he'll next face the world's number 1 Yannick Sinner also on Friday in a cracking semi-final. And that will do it for sports. We're going to be back at 6:05 with a major sportscast. Alok Swaby will have that one for you.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
For all your custom framing, printing, graphic design, and purchase of art, Make It Frame Art Jamaica Limited, serving you for over 40 years. The time by Frame Art Jamaica is
5:30.
Feel the rhythm of nature at the world-famous Duns River Falls and Park, one of Jamaica's most iconic experiences. The temperature by the Urban Development Corporation is
33 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston, 32 in the western city, Montego Bay.
This is Nationwide's FIFA World Cup Fact, brought to you by Juicy Patties, serious Jamaican food.
Did you know that Croatia's goalkeeper Daniel Subasic holds the record for the most penalty saves in a single World Cup match? Yes, that's a fact. In their round of 16 match against Denmark, Subasic saved 3 penalties for Croatia, a record for a single World Cup shootout.
That was Nationwide's FIFA World Cup Fact, brought to you by Juicy Patties, serious Jamaican food.
Hey, turn up to 25, turn up to 25. Could I drive out fresh in a MG ride with a staycation, all inclusive flex? Yeah, I touch a million cash. Yes, smart TV, PS5, and home upgrade.
Turn up your winnings this summer with Digicel. Sign up for Switch to Postpaid or Digicel Plus. Buy a SIM. Top up with 5 bills or more. Buy a 7-day plan or higher. A smartphone deal or just pay your bill. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion period June 24 to September 5, 2026. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for terms and conditions.
Listen up, motorists. Every driver's license starts with 0 demerit points. But when you commit certain traffic offences, points are added to your record after payment of the traffic ticket at the tax office or conviction by a court. Quick maths. 10 to 13 points, a 6-month suspension. 14 to 19 points, 1 year. And 20 points or more, a 2-year suspension. Don't risk it. Obey the road code, drive responsibly, and avoid demerit points. This message is brought to you by the Island Traffic Authority.
Turn up to 25, turn up to 25. Could I drive out fresh in a MG ride with a staycation, all inclusive flex? Yeah, I touch a million cash. Yes, smart TV, PS5, and home upgrade.
Turn up your winnings this summer with Digicel. Sign up for Switch to Postpaid or Digicel Plus. Buy a SIM. Top up with 5 bills or more. Buy a 7-day plan or higher. A smartphone deal or just pay your bill. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion period June 24 to September 5, 2026. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for terms and conditions.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
I just wanna have fun. So me send me a gold magnum, $700 give you one. That means any biz turn up.
Magnum, the champion of dancehall. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Every day, Jamaicans have something to say. In the group chats, on social media, in the streets, there's a place where it all comes together. The comment section. This is not a lecture. This is not a call-in show. This is the hottest topics of the day, filtered through real opinions, real WhatsApp messages, real voice notes, real reactions. You agree, disagree, sound off, text it, voice note it, debate it. Comments section, Monday to Friday from 7 to 7:30 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
It's Monday. Get over your blues. Or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The E-Zone is here for you. With the Stinger Honey Bee.
And Karim Boyatings.
From 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
We've got your entertainment news.
Then we want to hear your views. What you say?
Jump in the mix.
Or the hot seat.
Don't miss our brain busters.
Or the crazy giveaways.
Let's talk fashion.
Send us your outfit of the day. Ooh, cutesy. Very demure.
Are you looking for love?
Come on one of our blind dates. Send your request to ezone blinddates@gmail.com. That's ezoneblinddates@gmail.com.
And stay tuned for your confessions.
Share them with us at ezoneconfessions@yahoo.com. I mean, is this planet Earth?
Is it?
I don't know. Let me check. Either way, it's got a buzz.
And a bugger thing.
Ow! Ow!
What's everyone talking about? It's Front Page in This Morning. Get the issue of the day this and every weekday morning at 7:20 a.m. on Front Page. This morning, morning radio the right way. Front Page is brought to you by ABC Electrical, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Turn up the heat with Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classifieds feature. If you have a car for sale, room for rent, or yard sale come up. If you look at work or need stuff. If you provide a service, make it a Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classified segment. Your listing plays again and again. From morning till evening. You sing it, we play it. You say it once, Jamaica hears it all day, every hour. Contact our sales team now at 876-630-1210 or sales at nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Hot Listings on Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
Good afternoon, listeners and viewers. Welcome. Thank you for joining us Nationwide at 5. It's the cover story, and as always, it's a pleasure to be your host. I'm Siobhan Campbell. To those listening in, thank you for joining us, and a special shout out to our YouTubers as usual. Blessed Marcia Forbes, Jonathan Reed, Albert Morgan, Calvin Daly, all of you, thank you for joining us this afternoon. We turn to matters of the JSE, the Jamaica Stock Exchange's new micro market, which will allow the country's smallest businesses to raise between $50 and $100 million in equity capital, opening a formal market channel to firms long locked out of it. Finance Minister Favour Williams made the announcement in a statement to the House of Representatives on Tuesday. The Finance Minister says the platform launched on June 23rd is built around the financial realities of micro and small businesses. Favour Williams notes that the new JSE Micro Market Initiative changes who gets to build wealth in Jamaica.
The platform has been designed with the specific financial realities of micro and small businesses in mind. By adding the micro market to the existing ecosystem, it will allow micro and small enterprises to raise equity capital in the range of $50 million to $100 million, providing meaningful funding that can support business expansion, working capital needs, technology upgrades, and job creation.
The minister says an initial 25 business graduates of the Jamaica Business Development Corporation's Accelerator program have been identified as primary candidates for listing and have already shown operational discipline and growth readiness. She says a stock market sandbox will let prospective companies rehearse the demands of being publicly listed, reporting obligations, corporate governance standards, and regulatory expectations before entering the live market. The minister says this is expected to improve readiness and cut compliance failures after listing. She contrasted the support provided by the current administration to businesses through the stock market versus the previous PNP government.
That side over there would not know anything about creating stock market opportunities. They only know about shutting down stock markets. Jamaicans should never forget that it was the opposition that wanted to do away with the junior market. Yes, the same junior market that can now boast having listed 56 companies. Madam Speaker, the junior market raised tens of billions of Jamaican dollars in equity capital for these companies to finance expansion in manufacturing, retail, distribution, technology, entertainment, and logistics.
Minister Williams similarly says the launch of the JSE micromarket will be looked back on as a historic game changer for wealth creation.
Years from now, when we look back, I know that the launch of the micromarket will be remembered as the day we decided that wealth creation should not be reserved for the few, but made possible for the many. May the micromarket become the birthplace of thousands of Jamaican success stories, creating jobs, building wealth, strengthening families, and advancing our nation, one entrepreneur, one investor, and one bold idea at a time. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News. That's the minister there. Well, we are now joined by President of the MSME Alliance, that's Antoinette Hamilton, and the second Vice President of the Small Business Association of Jamaica, Denise Williams. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to your listeners.
Good afternoon to both you ladies. Antoinette Hamilton, this was a promise put down by the current administration. Is it the game changer that the minister believes it will be?
I believe it can be a real game changer. I agree. What we need is more awareness, though, so that MSMEs can take up the opportunity. But I must say that any opportunity that provides an additional source of financing for MSMEs is an excellent opportunity. And I will commend the minister again for not only announcing it, but seeing that it is executed, and also to the Jamaica Stock Exchange for ensuring that it happened. What I will say to the minister, though, is not to take our foot off the gas pedal. Let us continue the dialogue to ensure that we get the information out there to our MSMEs so that they are aware that this opportunity exists. They are aware of what is required to be a part of the process, and the MSME Alliance stands ready to support her and the Jamaica Stock Exchange in ensuring that there is active participation in this market.
And Denise Williams, for where you sit at the SBAJ, is this a welcome maneuver?
Absolutely. So I, concur with everything that Antoinette said, and I really believe what's different. When the junior market was launched in 2009, when the initial stock exchange was launched in 1967, there was no support for small business, micro businesses. So what we have is a recognition that the financial sector requires certain compliance metrics. The stock exchange requires certain compliance metrics. The tax authorities require certain metrics. This is the first time in Jamaica's history that the government has said we and our partners are going to give support so that micro and small businesses can meet the obligations and access another source of funding. So I acknowledge it's not a giveaway. I acknowledge that there's work to be done, but I'm applauding the government for acknowledging that support is needed for the work to be done.
And I suppose that is where things will be the most important, because I don't know how many small businesses are, say, going to be prepared to immediately launch onto this platform. Do you believe that there is enough education, enough information to face that level of public scrutiny that goes with being listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange?
At this moment, I wouldn't be able to say definitively yes, but I would say that what we have at this moment is an understanding that running your business a particular way does not lead to wealth, does not lead to greater funding, does not lead to greater capital. And then there is another way, the way that a Grace Kennedy does it, or a Stepford, or Alaska. They have the resources to have an entire department devoted to making sure the business meets its obligations so it can unlock capital. And so again, this is the first time the government is saying, we acknowledge that micro and small businesses do not have this capacity, and we are now going to work to help them have this capacity.
Well, open a short break. Ladies, please stay with us so then we can get into the nitty-gritty. Please stay with us.
The time by Grace Good Move is...
It's 5:44.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household, and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is...
It's a scorching 33 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, and it's not much better at 32 out west in Montego Bay.
Hi, I'm Chris Tufton, Minister of Health and Wellness. July is Healthcare Workers Appreciation Month, and I want to salute all our healthcare workers for their work. You are the vanguards of our health, and I have experienced firsthand your commitment, service, and sacrifice. Thank you for all that you do. On behalf of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the government, and the people of Jamaica, enjoy your special month. God bless.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Summer just got a whole lot cooler because ACs are now available at Active. Active Home Center has just introduced a brand new range of ACs, and we're making it even easier to keep you cool. But you'll want to move fast. Purchase any Bally or LG air conditioner from Active, and we'll give you $15,000 to put towards your next store-wide purchase. New AC and 15 grand to spend in store. That's a double win, but only for a limited time. Don't miss out. Head in store to Active Kingston or shop online today. Conditions apply.
A voice you love returns home
Mighty God of Daniel.
this August. Afternoons on Nationwide On Air and online will never be the same.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to Nationwide at 5. You're in the cover story. We're talking about the JSE's new micro market, which was launched, I believe, just a few weeks ago, sometime in June, late June. And companies at that level, the small micro market, can now access between $50 and $100 million in equity capital through listing on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. To discuss this further, we have with us the president of the MSME Alliance, Antoinette Hamilton, and the second vice president for the Small Business Association of Jamaica, Denise Williams. So, Antoinette, the primary portfolio, the primary means that most small businesses usually have towards accessing capital is finding some form of let's say, asset or something to put forward to get a loan from a bank. Do you see this new micro market as a means to shift away from the loan heavy base that would have been the normal micro MSME access to capital?
Definitely. What the equity market provides is an opportunity for you to access funding that is not tied to collateral per se. But as Denise would have highlighted, it is important, and whether you're going to a financial institution, an investor, a private investor, or the stock exchange, you are required to have certain minimum standards in place. You need financial statements. You need to be tax compliant. You need to now look at having a board or advisory committee. You need to also look at those strategies, right? So what we're saying to entrepreneurs, numbers should be your familiar territory, right? You should be interested in financial statement because investors speak numbers. And so if you're not speaking numbers, you're going to have to learn how to speak it. And the good thing about that process is that we have partners who are willing to assist you. The government is willing to put resources behind the public education, and we will support them on that journey. And we also have private consultants that can provide you with the knowledge you need to get access to this market. But a lot of education is going to be required, Siobhan, and the government would have to put resources behind that to ensure that MSMEs right across Jamaica are aware of this. I mean, they can use the MSME roadshows that are being put on by PPC, the Public Procurement Commission, as well as the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, to help educate MSMEs about this opportunity so that we can get more persons into that sandbox and we can work on them and ensure that they are fully aware of the risk as well as the benefits of being listed on a stock exchange.
And that's where I would like to go, Denise Williams. This sandbox, as announced by the minister, as I understand it, 25 companies have been runwayed to essentially go to the micro market, and I suppose they line up more through this sandbox. Do you see that as the important step in terms of bringing more MSMEs on board to that JSE?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, in fact, this is really a time for everyone to be involved. Meaning, the stock exchange sandbox is going to take entrepreneurs through the journey of what it requires to remain a listed company. Okay? So companies have to become comfortable with sharing their journey with the public. They have to be comfortable with a board of directors and mentors who will give them ideas, help them open doors. So they have to be comfortable moving away from the one-man band show that many micro and small businesses currently operate. I think the entire entrepreneurship ecosystem, so that's the government, the tax authority, the financial sector, accountants, business advisors, consultants, the entire ecosystem, Jamaica Business Development Corporation, I believe there's about 27 other incubators in Jamaica. The entire system is on readiness to assist persons who are open. You're not just going to take money and run. You're going to take money and help grow your business and grow the economy. And that's a team effort. That's not something you can do alone. And so, honestly, the biggest shift is to move from, I'm in business for survival. I just want to send my children to school. I just want to pay my rent. That mindset, we have to move to, I'm now a part of the economy. And I will get help to grow because I will help others to grow.
And Antoinette, sorry if I didn't. I mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Shama.
No, I wanted to ask you because I think a great point was raised there by Denise in terms of the assistance to the economy. Because when we talk about the stock exchange and prospectuses and shareholders and portfolios, you often see it as the realm of those who understand those terms. But is this micro market another avenue for maybe small investors to get involved in the stock exchange where they don't necessarily want to take on the risk or have the appetite for the more larger entities, or let's be honest, the cost it would take to buy into some of these larger entities? Do you see this as a potential avenue? Antoinette, are you there? Oh, there. I think we lost Antoinette. We'll try to get her back. So I put it to you, Denise. So do you see this as an opportunity for maybe small-scale investors to say, I like how Miss Matty's business is now being brought here. Maybe I can look into investing that and see if I can grow alongside her. Do you see that as a potential opportunity?
Listen, this is where the game changing happens, because there's many paths. A small business who meets the requirements, all they need is, I believe it's between 20 to 50 shareholders.
Yes.
That could be their church group. That could be their family group. That could be their clients, their customers. You know, that number is small enough where communities, stakeholders can change the game. Okay? They can now put their money into enterprises and become part owners. Additionally, investors will be able to unlock opportunities that before wasn't there. Because when you look at what we have now, and don't get me wrong, the stock exchange work over the last 10 years is nothing short of phenomenal. So we have a little over 100 companies listed on the stock exchange. That's 100 choices, okay? But we want more. The New York Stock Exchange has 14,000 companies, okay? So we need to be at a space we were opening the doors to all different sizes. In England, they have a market, the AIM market, and that is their alternative investment market. That also has 1,000 companies that are small, of course, for the English market. And so around the world, there are platforms for different sizes and different requirements. So an investor coming into the micro market, they know they're dealing with companies that are at the grassroots level. Okay, this is the core of who we are as a people. So you don't judge them, and you don't hold them to the same metrics as a Grace Kennedy or a Stephard. However, you do expect transparency. You do expect financial statements. You do expect growth. You do expect to impact the community. But you, the investor, can also play a bigger role in making that happen than you could if you bought a couple shares of Grace Kennedy. You can't go down to Grace Kennedy and say, oh, I'm a shareholder and this is how I want things to happen. No. With the micro market, this is an opportunity to make a difference as an investor. So you don't have to be passive. You can be very active the way this market is structured.
Excellent. Antoinette Hamilton, I understand we have you back. Antoinette?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, good to have you back. So, Antoinette, I mean, at the end of the day, the stock market is not going to be for everyone, whether that is small or large businesses. Sometimes you just don't want to give up that level of control of your company. In cases of MSMEs and small businesses, do you see other avenues where there needs to be improvement for access to capital?
Well, at some point, if you really want to grow, you're going to have to give up some stake in your business, because the other avenues are the traditional avenues. You get a loan. So in terms of whether it is even private equity, you're not going on the stock market private equity investors will still require a stake in your business to take on that risk. So I think the mindset of our MSMEs will have to change if they really want to grow. And just to Denny's point, companies on the stock exchange, they have given up shareholdings, and that's why they are so large. So if it is that they want to reach to grow phenomenally, then they will have to look at giving up a stake. The good thing is that it's only 20%, a minimum of 20% is required to be given up, to be listed on the junior market. And it's only 50 shareholders, so you don't have to have these thousands of shareholders in your company. So that's a plus, but you can raise up to 100 million. To your point earlier, there is support. So even as the president of the MSME Alliance, I would have worked with listed companies before. And what is encouraging is that MSMEs are already reaching out, to me as a president to say, hey, can we get some support? And I would have committed to provide, free consultation about, how to travel through that process. And so, if persons within the MSME Alliance is open to sharing a little about their company so that they can get the advice that they need, then we are here to support them. There are also other agencies that will be providing support, and I guess that will be announced. DBJ is coming with some capacity building support. The JSC would have indicated that they are doing the sandbox, but it's going to take some time. It's not going to be an overnight thing, Siobhan, but we are willing to support our MSMEs to help them to make that transition, and I'm looking forward to being a part of the first set of MSMEs that will be listed, and hopefully that will be done before the end of this year. Hopefully.
Okay, happy to hear that, Antoinette. Good luck, congratulations. We'll see how that one works out. I hope you'll send me the prospectus too.
Well, you can come on as an advisor or sponsor. I'm sure you have that amount of money.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies. That's Antoinette Hamilton, president of the MSME Alliance, and the second vice president for the Small Business Association of Jamaica, Denise Williams. Thank you both for joining us this afternoon. It has been a pleasure.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. And then I'll see you at the SPAJ conference next Thursday at the Pegasus.
Understood. Thank you. So that's where we have to leave the cover story, listeners. We come back at 6:25 for the nation's business. Stay tuned for the headlines. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smichael. PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell has agreed to publicly apologize to Cabinet Minister Darrell Vaz and to pay $1.5 million in costs settling a defamation claim Vaz brought against him nearly 3 years ago. The voluntary out-of-court settlement was signed on Wednesday. It closes the matter that began in 2023 after Dr. Campbell made comments about Minister Vaz on a political platform in northwest Clarendon. Under the terms of the agreement, Dr. Campbell is to unequivocally withdraw the statements and issue a written apology in his capacity as a PNP General Secretary. President of the Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises MSME Alliance, Antoinette Hamilton, is welcoming the new Jamaica Stock Exchange JSE's micro market. Speaking with Nationwide News on Wednesday, Hamilton says the new market positions micro and small businesses, in particular, in a good spot to access financing.
The JSE micro market is a big step in the right direction for small businesses. It provides an alternative or an additional source of financing for MSMEs, especially those in the micro and small. I know micro may say that they still won't be able to access that because, as a micro, you're earning 50 million or less. You may think that is out of your reach, but that's not the thinking that we want our micro entities to have. We want them to have the thinking that I can access $50 million or more to bring my revenue from 15 million to 100 million.
The new micro market will allow the country's smallest businesses to raise between $50 and $100 million in equity capital, opening a formal market channel to firms long locked out of it. Hamilton says the alliance will work alongside the Finance Ministry and the Development Bank of Jamaica to ensure MSMEs take advantage of the opportunity the micro market provides.
What we need right now is just for persons to be educated about it and also for persons to take up the opportunity. And I must commend the minister for not only announcing it, but also ensuring that it was executed. And also credit to the Jamaica Stock Exchange for their timely execution of this new micro market. As I said before, it is more of us now getting persons to participate on the market. And that will involve working together with the minister, BBJ, the Jamaica Stock Exchange, to provide that capacity building that is required.
Antoinette Hamilton, president of the MSME Alliance. The government is being urged to implement stricter policies governing the use of single-use plastic. CEO of the Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody, made the call at the virtual launch of JET's International Coastal Cleanup Day on Wednesday.
We want to see a reduction in unnecessary single-use plastics, and we're calling for government to kind of create that enabling environment to see our local manufacturers and embrace that kind of approach. And we need to see a strengthening of the deposit refund scheme and other measures that encourage reuse and recovery. And we need to continue educating the public about the choices we make every day. And we see a lot of people are nasty, people need to containerize their garbage. Yes, we do have behavioral issues, but we also see where there are lack of resources for collecting garbage. And so it is a combination of behavioral practices and also solid waste management infrastructure as well as enforcement of laws.
The first phase of Jamaica's national single-use plastic ban was officially launched on January 1, 2019. The most recent phase ban took effect on January 9, 2025. But according to Dr. Moody, plastic remains a major issue for marine life despite the ban.
The data shows that while the ban is working on certain items, we're not seeing plastic straws in the top 10 items. We see that there is a decline in foam. We're still seeing that, plastic is still the persistent issue, and it's mainly plastic bottles. And this despite there being a voluntary deposit refund scheme. Our cleanup efforts, International Coastal Cleanup Day, has helped prevent potential harm to approximately 37,400 marine organisms. But we know that the cleanups is really, it's not the solution to the solid waste management issue that we have. It is a part of the solution. And the problem isn't just about littering. It's how these products are designed, produced, used, and discarded.
Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody, CEO of JET. Jamaicans should brace for extreme windy conditions for the remainder of the week. That's the word from the Met Service of Jamaica. In an advisory on Wednesday, the Met Service says a low-level jet stream across the Caribbean Sea has been producing windy conditions across the island and its territorial waters since the start of the week. The system is expected to move closer later this week, bringing very strong and possibly gale-force winds to Jamaica on Friday and Saturday. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smichael. Sports is next.
This is Nationwide's World Cup Player Profile, brought to you by JN Bank. We'll help you find a way.
The numbers from Luis Diaz's maiden Bundesliga season are eye-catching. 27 goals and 21 assists from all competitions. He comes to the World Cup in fine form, having won the Bundesliga title and reaching the Champions League semi-finals. Diaz also carried his team through qualification, scoring 7 goals in 10 matches. He arrives at the World Cup as the team's undisputed star at age 29. Given his form, a Colombian mystery run is not out of the question.
That was Nationwide's World Cup Player Profile, brought to you by JN Bank. We'll help you find a way.
Every great project starts at Creative Building Finishes, Jamaica's only choice for the best tiles, best bathrooms, and best kitchens. Whether you're designing, building, renovating, or selecting materials for your next project, we offer exceptional quality, standout designs, and expert guidance you can trust. Visit our showroom in Kingston or Traxall, or explore our full range online at www.creativebuildingfinishes.com. Creative Building Finishes, your beautiful finish begins here.
From the biggest tracks to the biggest energy, Nationwide keeps it moving. If you love the vibes, come and lock in with us for real.
World boss, leave a prison could stop me.
Join the Nationwide 90FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Practice. God me say you watch you of me practice.
Good evening with your sports report. I am Alex Raby. We start with the World Cup as action at the 2026 FIFA World Cup resumes on Thursday after a one-day break with the first quarter-final at the Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Title favourites and two-time champions France will battle the champions of Africa, Morocco, at 3 p.m. in what will be a repeat of their semi-final showdown at the last World Cup in Qatar 4 years ago. The French on that occasion proved too strong for the Atlas Lions, winning 2-0. Both teams arrived at the quarter-final stage in contrasting fashion, with Morocco impressively dismissing Canada 3-0 in the round of 16 and France beating a stubborn Paraguay 1-0. A fascinating game is in prospect between two teams who've displayed some of the best football of the tournament so far. France will have concern over Bradley Barcola, Manu Cohn and Michael Olise. Each picked up a yellow card in their last match and will miss a potential semi-final if they are booked against Morocco. Nationwide's World Cup analyst Owen Hill looks ahead to the encounter.
It should be an interesting tactical battle. Obviously, France is the favorite going into the game, but not necessarily heavy favorites, because the Morocco team has shown that they have quality all over the park and they have the willingness to go all the way.
Nationwide coverage of the game starts at 2:30 p.m. with a pre-game show. Now, former Jamaican West Indies fast bowler Courtney Walsh explained that he would have a hard time playing cricket in this era, especially with the various teams giving players rest to manage burnout and workload. The ICC Hall of Fame inductee, known for bowling lengthy spells, added that as a player who depended heavily on rhythm, the current approach would have disrupted his pattern and flow.
I could not survive now with this workload and resting and rotation and whatever. I need to bowl to get fit, and once I'm match fit, is maintenance. If you're going to rest me and bring me back, I've got to start all over again. That's just what my tip. I've got to get fit. You get into a rhythm, you get into the momentum of playing, and you maintain that rhythm as you go along. You know your body, you know your fitness, and you keep working on that. If you're going to stop to start again, when you get into first gear and second gear, and you stop, start, it's like redoing over the engine. But once you get into that momentum, it's maintenance.
Walsh featured in 132 test matches, capturing 519 wickets. He was also known for bowling over 30,000 deliveries in test cricket without ever bowling a no ball. Walsh, who is the current bowling coach for the Zimbabwe senior men's team, says he also has time to share his experience with upcoming fast bowlers.
I tell the modern day players this, even the ones I coach. I say, I can't tell you how to go about, but I used to bowl in the nets to get fit. I do a bit of jogging. I never did a lot of gym, but light weights in the gym when my shoulder got damaged. But it's more maintenance. Once you're match fit, then you maintain that. So if it means practice less or bowl less in the nets, I'm all for that because I want to play the matches. Tell me I'm going to miss a test match because of workload. I'm not having it.
Courtney Walls. The West Indies have been fined 10% off their match fees and penalised 2 World Test Championship points for maintaining a slow over rate in the second test against Sri Lanka in Antigua. Match referee Javal Srinath imposed the sanction after the hosts were found to be 2 overs short of the target after time allowances were taken into consideration. As per the ICC Code of Conduct for players and player support personnel, players are fined 5% of their match fees for each over their team fails to bowl within the allotted time, with the maximum penalty capped at 50% of the match fee. Additionally, a side is penalised 1 point in the WTC points table for each over short as per the ICC WTC playing conditions. Captain Ruston Chase pled guilty to the offence and accepted the proposed sanction, so there was no need for a formal hearing. And continuing with cricket, and West Indies head coach Ruston Chase, captain of West Indies Test team, has played in 58 tests while scoring 11 half-centuries and 6 centuries. However, after leading the Maroon and Gold to a 1-0 victory over touring Sri Lanka, he believes this marks his proudest moment at this level. West Indies, after winning the first test by an innings and 237 runs, managed to eke out a draw in the second. Chase credited the batting unit, which produced 4 centuries across 2 tests.
This is by far my proudest moment as a West Indies cricketer. Not because only I'm the skipper, but the way how we played the cricket. The way how we went out there and played the cricket for the 2 games. I think even if this was a 5-match series, I don't think Sri Lanka would have won a game. The way how we went out there and played, and especially to the batters. I know it's usually the bowlers that just bring us out all the time, but I want to say a hell of a job to the batters. It's 400s we got in this series. That's outstanding. I asked for the guys to give me at least 100 per game, and 2 is a blessing, and y'all fellas blessed me for real.
Chase is hopeful that this will be a turning point for the West Indies in producing more performances of this nature.
Grow up from here. Don't let me just win one series and say, oh, we win a series and let that be it. I know everybody in here is striving for greatness, and this is what it takes to move on from here and grow. I love how we're building as a unit, how we're building as a family, especially one thing I keep talking about is enjoying each other's success. And this series showed me that everybody in here together and everybody for one another. You be how you see men reacting when men get success. That's the first time I see it in a West Indies team. So guys, job well done. Thank everybody again, from players back to the staff.
Ruston Chase, West Indies Test captain. Now to some netball, as President of Netball Jamaica, Karen Barr, has hailed Kendall's commitment to the development of the sport after the corporate entity signed a $20 million sponsorship agreement to support the association's programs over the next 2 years. The announcement comes at a pivotal time for Jamaica's top-ranked team sport, with the Sunshine Girls gearing up for a demanding international schedule that includes the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland, and the 2027 Netball World Cup in Sydney, Australia. Bob praised Kendall for investing in the future of Jamaican netball, describing the partnership as a timely boost for the national program.
It will go towards general program support. It will support not only the senior Sunshine Girls, but also any of our age group teams like our development squad or under 16. Once we're able to bring them back on stream. Typically, food is one of our biggest costs. So in addition to actually providing actual food, it will go towards helping with the food bill as well as transportation. Sometimes we have to subsidize and support the girls with to get them to and from training, medical support because players do get injured sometimes, and we do have insurance should go on and see, but any cost that is not covered, we have to cover.
Karen Barr. Now to some tennis, as Britain's Arthur Ferry continues his remarkable run at the Wimbledon Tennis Open on Wednesday with a stunning straight-set win over Frenchman Flavio Cobolli to become the first men's wildcard in 25 years to reach the semi-finals. The 23-year-old scored a 6-4, 7-6, 6-love victory over the world's number 10 and French Open runner-up to set up a clash with French Open champions Alexander Zverev in the last 4 on Friday. Also true to the last 4 is 24-time Grand Slam winning Novak Djokovic, who battled over 5 sets before beating Felix Auger-Aliassime in a 5-set thriller in the longest ever Wimbledon quarterfinal. The over 5-hour-long encounter ended with Djokovic winning 7-6, 3-6, 6-3, 7-6, 7-6, and will next face world number 1 Yannick Sinner of Italy in the semifinals, also on Friday. I'm Alex Ribe. That's your sports.
Yo, enjoy your Jamaica. UDC summer. A UDC summer, I don't know, sir, Ding Dong Rivers. I mean, I tell you, say, start in the 27th of June. Gather your friends, your family, the whole crew, and visit the world's famous Duns River Falls. You see, if 6 sound to go, the 6th person go in free. Start your first visit, collect your Duns River Falls passport, and go and collect some stamp. Can you see, after your 5th visit, the 6th one will be free. And look out for UDC Summer Bonfire Saturdays. Check the press for details.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. A voice you love returns home. This August, afternoons on Nationwide on air and online will never be the same.
Every day, Jamaicans have something to say. In the group chats, on social media, in the streets, there's a place where it all comes together. The comment section. This is not a lecture. This is not a call-in show. This is the hottest topics of the day, filtered through real opinions, real WhatsApp messages, real voice notes, real reactions. You agree, disagree, sound off, text it, voice note it, debate it. Comments section, Monday to Friday from 7 to 7:30 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
What's everyone talking about? It's Front Page in This Morning. Get the issue of the day this and every weekday morning at 7:20 a.m. on Front Page. This Morning. Morning radio the right way. Front Page is brought to you by ABC Electrical for a better choice in the electrical business.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis, weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
As a parent, you give your children a good start in life. You nurture, protect, and guide them. Parenting is a process that prepares your child for independence. As your child grows and develops, there are many things you can do to help your child. Stay tuned to The Big Show, Nationwide This Morning, for parenting tips. Fridays at 6:53 a.m. Only here will you learn everything you need to know about parenting. Tips to help parents navigate the incredibly challenging and rewarding journey of child rearing. Parenting tips on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Everything loud and wicked every Saturday 3 to 5 p.m. with Outside with Pepita. Loan vibes, loan laughs, and loan entertainment. Come on the road with me. Cause when we say outside with Pepita, we're there all over Jamaica. Anyway, check them out. We're there. We're in on the business. Stay tuned in for prizes, surprises, giveaways, guest artists, and enough more. But hold on there. Don't forget to big up my DJ. DJ Jerome the Shell Boss. I'm gonna make your bus too pew pew with the maddest, baddest, and latest tune. So look out for Outside with Pepita. We might be coming to a town near you. You heard it here first. Outside with Pepita, Saturdays 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. The new revolution in media. Jamaica, lock it in and don't miss a thing.
Now the mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking beats.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team. Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
It's the weekend and the youth are taking over the airwaves. Yes, we are the new voices and faces of the Talk Up You radio show. The voice of the Jamaican youth right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
After a busy week of work and school, come and wine with Jamaica's #1 youth radio show.
We're bringing you entertainment, fun facts, and staying true to youth development and advocacy.
Catch the action each and every Saturday as we roll out buzzy segments. What say you?
Youth for chat,
life skills,
global connect, and Bust the Youth.
That's the Talk Up Youth radio show. Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. Talk Up Youth, Miss Effie.
Talk Up Youth, don't miss it.
It's undeniable that we should be together.
The true beauty of music is that it connects people. It carries a message. It speaks to you. It changes you. And that's exactly what we do just for you every Sunday as we take you to Urban Paradise, 9:10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Urban Paradise is our weekly musical journey that will serve up 110 glorious minutes of positive storytelling through music, mixed in with inspirational features to provoke thought and to heal the soul.
Like a dream come true, just wanna be with you.
So join me, Diane Ashton Smith, this and every Sunday, 9:10 a.m. to 11 a.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. Urban Paradise, opening our hearts, connecting to others.
The Nation's Business is brought to you by the Jamaica International Financial Services Authority, promoting transparency, trust, and sustainable investment growth.
Good evening, listeners, viewers. Welcome back to Nationwide at 5:05. It is time for the Nation's Business. Again, I'm your host, Siobhan Campbell. Thank you for joining us, particularly those over on YouTube. It is a pleasure to be your host this evening. And now we move to a topic that I am very appreciative of, and that is Project STAR, its mandate to be extended beyond its initial 5-year period. This after independent evaluations confirmed the program is delivering measurable results and remains faithful to its development model. Project STAR is a social an economic transformation initiative targeting under-resourced communities affected by high levels of crime and violence. The announcement was made by Project Star co-chair Keith Duncan during the project's donor breakfast held at the Terra Nova All Suite Hotel recently. Originally scheduled to conclude in 2027, the initiative is now set to enter a new phase of implementation, backed by continued support from its partners and evidence of impact across education, social protection, economic development, community governance, and public safety. Project Star's project director, Safri Brown, says since its launch, Project Star has directly impacted more than 12,000 residents across its 5 target communities. These are namely Rose Gardens, Parade Gardens, Salt Spring, Savannah Lamar, and Maypen West. In year 4, under Star's education and family development pillar, Brown says 388 young people participated in sports and leadership programs exceeding targets by 57%, while 395 students benefited from remedial and after-school support. The project also engaged 110 parents through parenting clubs and facilitated path approvals for 117 residents. Project Star says their impact has also been reflected in crime statistics. It says between 2022 and 2025, homicide rates across Project Star communities declined by 67%, falling from 46 to 15 murders per 100,000 residents. By the end of 2025, the homicide rate in those communities was 37% below the national average. Well, joining us to discuss further are Project Star co-chair Keith Duncan and donor management and external affairs advisor for the program, Kalando Wilmoth. Good evening.
Good evening, Siobhan. Good evening to you.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening to you both. It's a pleasure to have you. And I start with you, Keith Duncan. You were there since the inception of Project Star. You must be a very proud father right now.
Well, I'm really happy for the achievements. I'm happy that we're achieving the program objectives. I'm happy that we are able to touch so many lives and in a very structured way in terms of community transformation and to really and truly impact communities in such a positive way. And also, more importantly, having the ownership coming from the communities themselves in terms of owning their transformation efforts.
And tell me, Mr. Duncan, because I was there at the launch of Project Star, and you invested a lot of time and energy as your time as the PSOJ head into this program. You pushed it through, so to speak, and you made sure that it was at the forefront of almost everything you did as PSOJ president. Now, almost 5 years on, the proof of the pudding, as I like to say, is now in the eating. What say to you to the achievement statistically? Did you see this almost dramatic change, this dramatic shift at the outset?
Well, everything is it is a work in development, in community development. So initially, when you go into a community, you have to build trust. So you have to put in the structures, the community, the architecture of the program. You have to get boots on the ground. More importantly, it is the partnership between the private sector, the police, NGOs, and the community. That is the most important factor, that we work hand in hand with the Jamaica Constabulary Force in terms of the delivering of the program. And of course, we had to have leadership in terms of Safra Brown as our project director, who is a community development specialist, Cherie Staines Appleby, who is our program's lead, guiding the team on the ground, because you have to have a team on the ground working with the community, building the trust, and then putting in the structures around it, the community governance around it, and then focusing on the pillars, your social programs, your economic programs, and as I said, community governance, building capacity building of community leadership, building out community organizations, parenting clubs, police youth clubs, and the community transformation boards, which come up with their community transformation plan. So this is a effort that what we call a whole of society approach it is everyone coming together, working with the community to be able to deliver the transformation. And trust is built, then the efforts start to take root, and then it becomes even led by the members of the community.
And we are up on a break, gentlemen. Please stay with us, and then we come back with you, Kalando.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is...
It's 6:33. Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to the Nationwide at 5. It's the nation's business, and we're talking Project Star. Has its mandate extended well past the 5 years it was initially supposed to run for. We have with us Project Star co-chair Senator Keith Duncan. I forgot there. Keith Duncan, now Senator in the Upper House, alongside Donor Management and External Affairs Advisor for Project Star, Kalando Wilmoth. So, Kalando, speak to me about the achievement, because we see where crime and murder specifically are falling across the country. We're thankful for that. But Project Star does have a place in that success story. Please give us an understanding of that.
Sure. Well, certainly within the communities where we operate, the reduction in crime would have been part of the outcome, so to speak, right? We would have targeted the reduction in crime, because the way we would have selected the communities, crime data, violence-related injuries data, and social indicators were in the mix for how we decided. So certainly targeting the crime would be an important element for STAR's success. And how we would have done that, Keith mentioned the work with the police, which is very important, because obviously improving police-community relations, very critical. But one of the things that is very important to STAR's success is the way the program is structured. There's a lot of structure in how we do our work. And one of the things that we do with how we work with the police, we have something that we call our community intervention team, which is a fortnightly meeting with the commanding officer for the region that we're working, and the SDC and Project Star. And there's a constant monitoring of the activities that are happening and where solutions can be applied, just to sort of give it to you broadly. So that structure, that consistency, that triangulated approach of we need to work on the social component, we need to work on the economic component, and and together those things help to address the crime factors. If you look at it that way, the way the program is structured and the way we work, then you can see how we would be able to support reduction in crime. Because when we focus on the community relations component of what is happening. The police need to do the operational crime. But because we are having dialogue with the police and we're working together, there is understanding about what's happening on the ground, what's happening with the work that we're doing, and what's happening with the police and the work that they're doing. And so the initiatives are supported by the police, but the residents are central, right? The residents are central to all the activities. And as far as when we implement our programs that engage with young people, when we implement our programs that target getting people into jobs, when people are working and people are employed and engaged, then you reduce the risk and increase their resilience to the matters that relate to crime in the community. And so we structure the activities, you engage the community, and you're consistent with what you're doing, and that structure working together along with the police, you see the results that would enable us to say we've proven the model, and this is something we're continuing to invest in from a corporate perspective, and that's why we're extending the program beyond the 5 years.
Excellent. And please tell me, where Project Star has been operating now in these 5 communities, is it still within those 5 communities?
Yes, we are in Parade Gardens, Rose Gardens in Kingston. We're in Maypen West we call it, and the communities of Treadlight, Racetrack, and Havana Heights. That's in the Maypen area, Clarendon. We're in Salt Spring in Montego Bay, and we are in 4 neighborhoods in South. Obviously, the extension, the part of the contemplation is to go to additional communities because, again, we always imagine that the approach of Project STAR can be mainstream. So the approach to community development, the approach to community intervention can be modeled, can look this way, right? And so we've proven it, the 4 years, we're seeing the results. The approach has always been that it's partnership, it's evidence-based, and when you plan it that way with community at the center, then you're more likely to bring about the results, right? That's how we thought about it.
Yes.
So now that the model has been proven, it provides us with a pathway to enter additional communities. So the extended STAR is expected to then include new communities.
And I would love to talk about that. Senator Duncan, I understand the government has put up $200 million to support your efforts. Do you now seeing Project STAR extended beyond the initial 5 communities?
For sure, definitely. And just to say, in terms of the question you asked, Orlando, and it's very important, everybody focuses on the crime number, but what the underlying numbers and the structural gains are what ensures that those crime numbers and solidifies those crime reduction numbers, which is increased attachment to youth, formal training and economic pathways, improve household stability and access through partnerships with the government, the social support services, Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Ministry of Education and Youth, HEART, partnerships with Ministry of Justice, restorative justice, strengthen profitability and sustainability of community-based businesses. You're driving economics in the community. People can earn more, right? Increase employment because we have our employment program. So these are the numbers that we track. The outcome of these efforts, while the police engage in their operations, is a community that is engaged, that is increasing in economic activity, that's more stable from a family perspective, from a community perspective, and youth that are engaged, because the youth at risk are there's a focus around.
And this is what one would call community intervention done right. We've tried so many different methods and types of community intervention over the years, but it seems the model adopted by Project STAR is one that is working. What do you believe underpins that success?
Well, you really have to have the development model and aligned and agreed on, and the engagement with the community, because the community has to have ownership. So this is not just working in pockets. This is a holistic approach to community development, and working along with the government, as we say, because everybody are partners, the private sector, locally and in the communities and at the corporate level across Jamaica. It's a whole of society approach. But at the community level, it is a holistic community development model, which is driving social change, focusing on the families. That's why we have parenting clubs. Because would you believe that when we went into these communities and you're sitting down, you form your community transformation boards made up of teachers, youth, community leaders, and these boards are formed, plus others, the church, etc. When these boards are formed and we sit down and we diagnose the issues with the community, I think you'll be surprised to know what their number 1 and number 2 issues were in the community, right? One is like a weak family structure, right? This is what the communities had determined was the root cause of crime and violence. 2, male marginalization, right? That's number 2. So programs have to be designed around where and this is all evidence-based also, right? So programs must be designed around it. So you have to strengthen families, right? And how do you strengthen families? For 1, they have to earn. 2, they have to be, you have to do psychosocial work along with them, and that's why we have parenting clubs. And we also have to focus on educational programs, in strengthening the family, literacy programs, child diversion programs, many programs that are focused on literacy, focused on supporting them through PEP, working with partners, and you focus on this real transformation of the communities touching families and people's lives in a real way.
Understood. I'm happy to hear that, Keith Duncan, because those are two topics that have sort of made my life lessons, things that need to be addressed in Jamaica for us to really move forward in a meaningful way. And I'm happy to hear that it coincides with Project Star's own assessment. So final word to you, Calando Wilmoth, with this extension for your mandate and this injection of capital, do you have already assessed the communities that you want to extend the program to? Calando?
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
The PIOJ had already identified 100 communities in Jamaica that are considered vulnerable and volatile. And so we would, and the STAR committees we're currently working on would fit in there. So there's already, a list, so to speak, to select from. But usually our selection process, again, as I said, the structure, there are a couple of other things that we do. So, we're likely to end up in a community that's already being identified for this type of intervention. But I just wanted to add something very quickly to what Keith was saying about the various things that we do with the community, the clubs and the support in education, etc. So STAR, we think of the entire community ecosystem, right? And we think about how to solve the problem sustainably. And so when you think of something like our school feeding program, we know that the school feeding program, which we operate in a couple of our communities in partnership with a couple of our donors, we know that the school feeding program, getting donations is one part of the problem, right? But donations in and of themselves, if a donation dries up, then the thing it's supporting is no longer viable.
Yes.
So we know that donations is almost like what you do for now. But it's important to get the children in school and to keep them in school, so you use that to get them there. But you then layer on, how do we sustain this? Part of it could be that the parents are not able to afford to send the children to school because they're not employed, so that we need to now put people in our employment program. We also need to engage with the school to say, how could we set up, what do we do after the donations, right? We could set up some vegetable gardens where you can actually provide the ingredients for the meals, and if there is surplus, you can probably provide that to the community. And so you have to think about how you're going to solve the problem holistically. You then provide support to the parents of that school through your parenting club. You then ensure that the young people are engaged in sports. So you create you tap the entire community, because we also support our elders groups, we support families, we support children in school, we do sports, we do employment, we support entrepreneurship, we do financial inclusion. So we take a holistic approach to the solutions, and we think about them in a sustainable way. So it's not, you think the thing all the way through. How does this solve the problem, and how does it solve the problem in a way that it solves it long term? So our approach philosophically is that, and therefore everything follows. The structure, when we go to a community, I can tell you there's like an 8-step approach to going into a community and doing the work. And so at any point we can figure out where we are and how to adjust and be agile. And so the way we think about the transformation, the way we think about the intervention is also very critical to how we implement, right?
Excellent. That is Calando Wilmoth. He's the donor management and external affairs advisor for Project Star. And we also had the co-chair for Project Star, Keith Duncan. Gentlemen, keep up the good work, and thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We take a break, listeners, and then we come back with Around the World.
The Nation's Business was brought to you by the Jamaica International Financial Services Authority, promoting transparency, trust, and sustainable investment growth. The Jamaica International Financial Services Authority promotes Jamaica as a jurisdiction for international financial services. Visit JIFSA at jifsa.gov.jm. The time by JIFSA is...
It's 6:47.
Enough power tool, big to small. Chakama figure dig the wall.
Upper total tools.
Weed whacker figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total tools.
We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston.
And lot C6 Jacksaw, St. Anne's Bay. Call us today.
Welcome back, listeners. It's time for Around the World, where U.S. President Donald Trump has declared the ceasefire between the United States of America and Iran to be over, following renewed exchanges of fire between the two sides. The announcement came during the NATO summit in Ankara, Turkey. Trump also used the NATO summit to criticize several allies over how they failed to adequately support the United States during the conflict. Among the countries, Spain was singled out over its defense spending and stance on the Iran crisis. Alongside NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, Trump has accused Iran for violating the ceasefire after renewed attacks and defended U.S. military action against Iranian targets. He also described Iran's leader in harsh terms and said he was no longer interested in negotiating with the country. The comments have raised concerns about unity among NATO members as tensions continue between the United States and Iran. The renewed fighting has increased fears of further escalation, with international leaders closely monitoring the situation and the possibility of a wider regional conflict. For more on this, we're being joined by national security and foreign policy expert and military veteran Asha Castleberry Hernandez. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. So it seems we're back in a bit of a spot of bother in terms of the Strait of Hormuz and that U.S.-Iranian ceasefire that we had hoped would hold, as tenuous as it was. What led to this essentially coming apart at the seams?
Just recently, we've seen a exchange between both the United States and Iran in terms of military action. So that's what also led to it. And then what we've been seeing for quite some time is that there's a lot of fragility involved in these ceasefires. So they're not holding because of the ongoing military activities. And I think that's what's driving this. But also what we're seeing as far as the two backdrops is that just recently, Khamenei's funeral has pretty much energized Iran to pretty much go against the United States in terms of pride and defeating the adversary. And then with the United States, they're, just desperately really want a short win. They want to move on in terms of Iran and be able to re-engage in other parts of the world. And then it's not as popular when it comes to this war. By 60% or more in terms of multiple polling, that Americans find this war unfavorable, especially when it comes to it being a growing economic cost.
And on that same front, though, the president is suggesting that he has no interest in coming back to the negotiating table. At this point in time, considering where we are, is that a reality? Can he essentially move on to a military solution to what he sees as this problem, or is this just him blustering for more time?
There's a possibility it could be both. I mean, it's just really uncertain because the decision-making just continues to be up and down. So we're really unsure. But for the most part, airstrikes have been conducted, and that's going to continue to rattle the United States and Iran to negotiate at the table. I have always been not confident with negotiations when there's military action happening between the two parties. So we really need right now is the international community to get involved as far as helping to bring these two parties to some sort of real, solid peace deal.
And is that impetus and pressure there from the international community, as Trump is suggesting there, he doesn't feel that NATO is supporting enough of his actions in terms of bringing the Iranians to the negotiating table? Where do we now find that compromise?
Well, we're not necessarily seeing it now, but I think it's inevitable that the international community will get involved because the economic costs are exacerbating per day, especially when it comes to the energy sector when it comes to critical supply chains. And we're also seeing where, overall, it's just a really huge cost because 80% or more countries in this world import oil from the Strait of Hormuz or associated with Middle Eastern countries. So I think it's just inevitable right now the international community needs to get involved. In fact, I just published a piece, encouraging to get involved because of the fact that it's an economic cost, and then it's also inflaming a lot of security costs that can eventually spill into their region. So I just think right now it's with Pakistan involved, thank you very much, but I don't think it's adequate. I think we really do need international community involved like we saw with the JCPOA.
And in terms of what has been Iran's response to Trump's claim that they're backing away from the negotiating table and they're ready to ratchet up the pressure in terms of military action, has Iran responded?
I don't know as of now, but right now what we're seeing is ongoing back and forth between the two. So again, I think that post-Khomeini funeral has really energized them to engage in military action against the United States. So if there is a statement out that they're willing to engage with the United States, I'm not surprised. Also, too, when we're looking at the options with regards to how the United States is going to move forward, it's right now more risky than ever because, again, Iran has a lot of leverage over the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, when you look at two options like the United States being able to seize Karg Island, that's a very risky mission. And then when you see that the United States may restore the U.S. blockade, that's another risky mission where, yes, we're able to do that, but it's just going to increase the energy prices to where to go up to 6%, and we could feel the pain at the pump. So the options are not that very well, and I think Iran right now knows that, and that's why their intent is to continue to make this an enduring situation because they know that this will produce a lot of cost for the United States over time, especially domestically.
And shades of the Vietnam War, what about the pressure back home in the United States for Trump? As you pointed out, prices and the economy suffer as a result of this, and it's just not a very popular war. It's not a popular conflict at this time in the home front. Could you see that pressure causing Trump to capitulate?
Yes, to a certain extent. I mean, you already see some momentum in Congress where there's a growing bipartisan spirit to pass the War Powers Resolution, and then going back to the economic cost, it's not just necessarily with the energy pricing, it's also the fertilizer industry, and then you also have some issues involved in the critical supply chains. So, and then you also have a lot of pressure involved in the drone production issue where we are running low in our stockpile, and in order to restore that loss we have is going to take quite some time. So drone production is pretty much of a critical low right now. So I think looking at it in its totality, there's a lot of losses here, and domestically we could feel, and I think you're going to see more intervention coming from Congress and also eventually international community.
Interesting. And just finally, has the President of the United States backed himself into a bit of a political corner with this war? Because, midterms inching closer, just months away, and there is an expectation that with his approval ratings constantly going down, that the Republican Party could take a hammering at the polls. Do you believe that will cause him to reconsider any further actions in terms of Iran?
Absolutely. The closer we get to November, the more pressure he is going to be politically, especially if you start to see where the Democratic Party, where they gained a lot of attention involving the rise of socialism. He's going to see that is they're catching a lot of attraction in terms of political gain. So if the polls continue to show that they're not in favor and the gas prices do not go down, I think it's going to be a lot of pressure in terms of continuing this war.
And just finally, in your assessments with midterms coming up in November, do you see the potential with this now going into, I think it's fifth month, do you see the potential of this conflict coming to an end before that date?
As of now, no. One reason is because looking back at the Obama administration as far as negotiating with the Iran leadership, which was a less hardliner group than we were seeing before. It took about 2 years for Obama to achieve some sort of deal, and he did it purely through diplomacy. So with this, as far as adding on military action, I think it's going to further delay them to come to the table, especially if you don't have the international community involved. So I think also, too, with Iran, they know continue to kick the can down the road constantly, where we got to get this all the way down to November because it's going to hurt Trump. I think that's a clear intent that's happening right now, too, as well. But negotiating with Iran, where they're now more hardliner, more motivated to stay engaged as a result of the Khomeini funeral post-feeling, I do believe that this is going to continue on for quite some time.
That's Asha Castleberry Hernandez, national security and foreign policy expert and military veteran. Thank you for joining us this evening, Asha.
You're welcome.
That's where we have to leave Nationwide at 5. Listeners and viewers, thank you for joining us. Please stay tuned for the comment section with Mahiri Stewart and Shalois Michael. Thanks to our super producers this evening, Sonia Stewart and her assistant, Rihanna Fullerton. Thanks to our technical operator, Andrew the Glenn, the big man, Bugs Anderson, as well as the best news and production department in the business, led by the very capable Cara Powell. Again, shout out to all our listeners, and a special shout out to our YouTubers, Dwight Bono, Richie Richards, VBP, Marigold, Carlene Smith, Unata. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's been an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
A voice, a person.